the silence. The first sign that reality was breaking wasn't the screams, it was the silence. In a galaxy where the Force connects all living things, where Jedi feel disturbances across parsecs, where Sith taste fear from star systems away, the sudden absence of perception meant something impossible. Something existed that the Force couldn't see. Not darkness. Darkness had presence, had weight, had meaning in the eternal struggle between light and shadow. This was different. This was void, and in the unknown regions, drifting through space that hadn't seen life in millennia, an Imperial scout vessel discovered why. Imperial scout vessel revelation unknown regions, Sector K770347 hours. Galactic Standard Time Commander Terran Voss stood on the bridge of the revelation, staring at something that made 15 years of deep space exploration feel suddenly inadequate. The derelict hung in the viewport like a tomb, angular, massive, so constructed from materials that reflected no light and absorbed sensor scans. The ship's architecture matched no known civilization in Imperial records. Not Republic, not Separatist, not ancient Sith or forgotten Rakatan. Something else entirely. "Sir," Lieutenant Kess reported from the sensor station, her voice carrying the tension of someone reporting data that shouldn't exist. "The vessel's been here for, I can't get an accurate reading. Dating systems return errors. Could be centuries. It could be millennia." "Life signs?" Voss asked. "Negative, but sir," Kess hesitated. "The power signature, it's active. Minimal, but present. Something on that ship is still functioning after all this time." Voss studied the derelict through enhanced magnification. No exterior damage, no signs of battle. Just a ship that had been placed here, perfectly preserved, waiting. "Assemble a boarding team," Voss ordered. "Full hazard protocols. If there's functioning technology aboard, the Empire wants it." The boarding party consisted of 12, 8 stormtroopers, 2 Imperial engineers, 1 archaeologist, an Inquisitor 7th brother, a former Jedi turned to the dark side, his presence required by Imperial regulation for any unknown region's discovery that might contain Force artifacts. 7th brother stood apart from the others, cowl pulled low, a lightsaber hanging from his belt with the casual menace of someone who'd killed enough that the weapon felt like an extension of his body. "Do you sense anything?" Voss asked him quietly as the team prepared to board. The Inquisitor's head tilted slightly. "No, nothing. Which it..." He paused, searching for words. "Unusual. The unknown regions are rich with Force presence. Ancient battlefields, vergences, dark side nexuses. Even empty space carries echoes." His voice dropped. "This ship carries nothing, just absence." "Is that dangerous?" "I don't know." The admission seemed to trouble the Inquisitor more than any threat would have. "Absence is not the same as emptiness. Emptiness is natural. This feels..." He stopped, unable to articulate the wrongness. "We should be cautious." The boarding party crossed via umbilical, their magnetic boots clanging against hull plating that felt wrong. Too smooth, too cold, too perfect despite apparent age. The airlock opened without resistance. Inside, the derelict breathed. Not literally, but the corridors seemed to pulse with something that wasn't life but mimicked it. A rhythm just beneath perception, a frequency that made human inner ears ache and teeth vibrate slightly. Atmospheric composition? Voss asked over comm. Breathable, one engineer reported, checking instruments. But sir, the readings are impossible. The air is fresh. No degradation, no bacterial growth, no dust. But it's like this ship was sealed yesterday despite all evidence suggesting otherwise. They moved deeper, weapons ready, scanning with instruments that kept returning conflicting data. The cargo hold was vast, easily 200 meters across, ceiling lost in shadow, and at its center, standing alone like an altar in a cathedral of darkness, the artifact. It rose 12 meters tall, perfectly geometric, constructed from material that seemed to be black crystal but moved like liquid when viewed peripherally. Markings covered every surface, not language exactly, but patterns that suggested meaning just beyond human comprehension. Mathematical, precise, wrong in ways that made looking at them physically uncomfortable. "What is that?" Voss whispered over comm. No one answered, because the moment they'd entered the cargo hold, something had changed. The Inquisitor staggered, hand going to his head. I can't, the Force..." His voice carried confusion that bordered on panic. "It's gone, not blocked, not suppressed, just absent, like standing in a room where gravity stopped working." "What do you mean, gone?" Voss demanded. "I mean, I can't feel the Force." Seventh Brother's voice rose, professional composure cracking. "For 20 years, I've felt the Force's presence every moment of every day. It's as fundamental as breathing. And now..." He looked at the artifact with something approaching terror. "Now there's nothing, just silence." One of the stormtroopers approached the artifact, weapon lowered, drawn by curiosity that overrode training. "Sir, there's an inscription, I think, or..." He leaned closer. "It's moving. The markings. They're moving." "Fall back," Voss ordered immediately. Too late. The artifact began to hum. Not audible exactly, but felt in bones, in teeth, in the parts of human anatomy that processed balance and spatial awareness. A frequency that bypassed ears and went directly to brain chemistry, and then it began transmitting. Imperial Intelligence Station, Obsidian 4 hours later. The transmission reached Imperial stations across 3 sectors simultaneously. Not through conventional channels, not through hyperspace relays, just appeared in communication systems, bypassing encryption, security protocols. Every defense the Empire had spent decades building. A signal. Low frequency, subsonic, carrying information that human brains couldn't process consciously but absorbed anyway, embedding itself in neural patterns, in memory structures, in the places where thought became action. Admiral Kendrell Ozzel stood in the comm center of Station Obsidian, watching technicians scramble to understand how a signal had penetrated Imperial military systems without triggering a single alarm. "Origin point?" Ozzel demanded. "Unknown regions, sir. Sector K-77. It's coming from Scout Vessel Revelation, but Admiral..." The technician's hands shook as he worked. It shouldn't be possible. The signal strength required to reach this far, to penetrate our systems. We're talking power output equivalent to a Star Destroyer's reactor, and it's coming from a scout vessel. Cut it off immediately. "We're trying, sir. The signal's not using our transmission frequencies." "It's..." The technician stopped, staring at his instruments with growing horror. "Sir, it's rewriting our communication protocols. adapting to our attempts to block it, like it's learning. Ozzel pulled out his comlink. "Get me Lord Vader, now." The response came within minutes, Vader's distinctive mechanized breathing preceding his words. "Admiral, report." "My lord, we have an unknown transmission originating from the unknown regions. It's penetrating Imperial systems. We can't block it. I can't trace it. And..." Ozzel hesitated. "Personnel are reporting disturbances." "What kind of disturbances?" "Psychological, hallucinations, memory disruptions. Nothing severe yet, but it's spreading. Sir, I'm requesting permission to deploy a task force to the signal's origin point. Investigate. Eliminate if necessary." Silence. Just breathing. Then, "I will investigate personally. Maintain communications blackout until I arrive. Tell no one of this transmission, not the Moffs, not Imperial intelligence, no one." "My lord, what about the Emperor?" Another pause. Longer this time. "I will inform Lord Sidious when I understand what we face. Vader out." The comm went dead. Ozzel stood in the communications center, watching the signal's data flow across screens. Patterns that shouldn't exist. Mathematics that violated known physics. Information that human minds absorbed but couldn't consciously process. And throughout Station Obsidian, in quarters where off-duty personnel tried to sleep, the dreams began. Not nightmares exactly, memories, but wrong. A communications officer dreamed of his dead sister, killed in the Clone Wars, standing in his quarters, speaking with perfect clarity. "Why didn't you save me? You were there. You watched me die. You did nothing." A stormtrooper saw his training sergeant, KIA, during the Battle of Kashyyyk, giving orders with the same harsh authority he'd had in life. "You failed. You've always failed. You're defective, broken. You should have died instead of your squad." An engineer heard her mother's voice, dead for 12 years, calling from empty corridors. "I'm still here. I never left. You abandoned me. Come find me. I'm so cold, so alone." The dreams were perfect, too perfect, not imagination, not trauma-induced hallucination. These were memories with surgical precision, accurate in every detail except one. The dead were speaking, and they knew things the dreamers had never told anyone. Jedi Temple, Coruscant, simultaneous Jedi Master. Shakti woke from meditation gasping, hand pressed to her chest, where her heart hammered with unfamiliar panic. Around her, the meditation chamber, where 12 Jedi had been seeking communion with the Force, erupted into chaos. Padawan Cora Ven stumbled to her feet, eyes wide. "Master, I can't feel the Force. It's like trying to see underwater. Everything's distorted. I can sense you, but it's wrong, delayed. Like the connection is breaking up." "Calm yourself, Padawan," Shakti said. But her own connection felt exactly as Cora described. Present but fractured, like trying to use a limb that had fallen asleep. "This is..." She stopped, because for just a moment she'd felt something. Not through the Force, through something else. A presence that existed outside the cosmic energy field. A signal that bypassed the Force entirely and touched her mind directly. And in that touch, she'd seen a geometric shape, black crystal, covered in markings that hurt to perceive. And beneath those markings, embedded in mathematics that predated language, instructions, recursive, self-modifying, designed to be perceived, absorbed, replicated, designed to spread. The vision ended as suddenly as it began. Shakti stood, helping Korra to her feet. "Get Master Yoda immediately. Tell him—" She paused, uncertain how to articulate what she'd just experienced. Tell him the Force has blind spots, and something just found one." Around them, throughout the Jedi Temple, Force sensitives felt it simultaneously. A void where presence should be, not darkness. Darkness was known, was mapped in Jedi philosophy as the shadow side of cosmic balance. This was different. This was something the Force had never encountered because it existed outside the Force's jurisdiction entirely. And now it had arrived in a galaxy that had spent 10,000 years believing the Force was absolute, believing it connected all things, believing it encompassed all reality. The Jedi were about to learn, along with the Sith, the Empire, and every Force-sensitive being across the galaxy, that reality was larger than the Force, that there were spaces between the light and dark where neither could reach. And in those spaces, something else had been waiting, something that didn't corrupt, didn't seduce, didn't need to. It just instructed. And once you heard the instructions, once they embedded themselves in your neural architecture, you couldn't unhear them, ever. The signal spread, silent, patient, inevitable. And somewhere in the unknown regions, aboard a derelict that had drifted through space for longer than human civilization had existed, the artifact that would break the galaxy continued its simple function, broadcasting, teaching, preparing for convergence. 18 hours after initial contact, Chief Engineer Mara Shen hadn't slept in 23 hours. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the schematics, not the station's systems, not Imperial designs, something else. Geometric patterns that folded in on themselves, mathematical proofs that led to conclusions her conscious mind couldn't grasp, but her subconscious absorbed like instruction manuals. She stared at her workstation screen, where the station's power grid should have been displayed. Instead, her hands had been typing code she didn't remember learning. Symbols that weren't basic, weren't binary, weren't any programming language in Imperial databases. But they worked. The modifications she'd made to the power distribution network ran 40% more efficiently. Impossible improvements that violated thermodynamic principles but functioned anyway. Shen, her supervisor's voice made her jump. "You look like hell. When's the last time you slept?" "I'm fine," Mara replied automatically. "Just solving some optimization problems." "Those aren't optimization problems." Her supervisor leaned closer, studying the screen. "That's not even code. What is that?" Mara looked at her work properly for the first time. The symbols hurt to look at. Made her eyes water, made the fluorescent lights seem too bright, too sharp, "I don't know," she whispered. "I don't remember writing it." Around the engineering bay, 7 other technicians worked with the same feverish intensity, their screens filled with identical non-code that improved systems through mathematics that shouldn't exist. None of them had slept since the signal began. None of them wanted to, because sleep brought the dreams, and the dreams brought the voices. Sith Temple Mustafar concurrent. Darth Vader stood in the meditation chamber where lava flows cast everything in hellish red, reaching through the Force for the clarity that had guided him for decades, found interference instead. Not opposition, not the light side pushing back against his dark side probing, just static, like trying to see through frosted glass. "Master," he spoke into the calm, "I have arrived at the signal's estimated origin sector, but I feel—" He paused, pride warring with honesty. "Disturbances in the Force itself." Emperor Palpatine's hologram materialized, a hooded features somehow more sinister than usual. "Explain." "Precognition is failing. When I reach for the future, I see fragments, contradictions. My connection to the Force remains, but its clarity is compromised." "You believe the signal is responsible?" "I don't know what else it could be." Vader's mechanical breathing filled the silence. "Master, in all my years serving you, serving the dark side, I have never encountered anything the Force could not perceive. Even the light side, even Jedi register as presence. This signal registers as nothing, as if it exists outside the Force's awareness entirely." Palpatine's expression shifted microscopically. "Impossible. The Force is in all things, binds all things. There is no outside the Force." Then we face something that contradicts Sith doctrine as fundamentally as it contradicts Jedi philosophy, Vader replied. "Should I proceed to investigate?" "No." The Emperor's voice carried new weight. "Return to Coruscant immediately. I will investigate this personally, if something exists beyond the Force's reach." He paused, and for the first time in years, Vader heard uncertainty in his master's voice. "Then our understanding of reality may be incomplete." The hologram faded. Vader stood alone in the meditation chamber, reaching through the Force, finding only static where clarity should be. And beneath the static, something else, a frequency his mind couldn't process, but felt anyway. Instructions embedding themselves in neural patterns, teaching his brain to perceive reality in ways the Force had never allowed. For just a moment, Vader saw mathematical proofs written in his own neurons, geometric certainty replacing Force-guided intuition. A path forward that didn't require the dark side or the light, just cold, precise, inevitable logic. He recoiled from the vision, but it had already taken root. Jedi Council Chamber, Coruscant Master Yoda sat in meditation. The 800 years of experience providing no guidance for what he sensed throughout the Force. Youngling Cad Bora had reported hearing whispers in High Galactic, a dead language the child had never learned. Padawan Ven claimed the temple's walls were moving when no one watched directly. 3 Jedi Knights reported vivid dreams of their fallen masters, speaking instructions for rituals the Jedi Order had never practiced. "Hallucinations, you believe these are?" Master Mace Windu asked, his voice tight with concern. "Hallucinations imply false perception," Yoda replied. "What if perceiving truly they are? What if showing us something the Force cannot?" "The Force encompasses all reality," Windu countered. "That's fundamental to Jedi philosophy. If the Force cannot perceive something, that thing doesn't exist. Or exist outside the Force's jurisdiction, it does," Yoda said quietly. "Arrogant we have been. Absolute we believed the Force was. Unique. We believed our reality was." "Master Yoda, what are you suggesting?" The ancient Jedi's ears drooped with exhaustion that went beyond physical. "Suggesting I am not, fearing I am. Fear that the Force, The energy field we built our entire civilization around is not cosmic constant, is local phenomenon, limited, finite. That's heresy, Windu whispered. Heresy or truth? Yoda opened his eyes. Coming from unknown regions, this signal is from space where the Force's presence grows thin. Or what if from there it comes? From beyond the Force's reach? From reality where the Force never evolved? The council chamber fell silent, because if Yoda was right, if the Force was limited rather than absolute, then every teaching, every prophecy, every carefully constructed philosophy the Jedi had built over 10,000 years was founded on incomplete understanding. They weren't protectors of cosmic balance. They were just inhabitants of one reality among many. And something from another reality had just made contact. We must investigate, Windu said finally. Send a team to the unknown regions, find the signal's source, understand what we face before. He stopped, because every Jedi in the council chamber felt it simultaneously, the Force rippling like water when stone is dropped, not from attack, not from dark side corruption, from something touching the Force from outside, probing it like a scientist studying bacterial culture. And in that touch, every Force-sensitive being in the galaxy learned the same terrible truth. The Force could be studied, could be measured, could be treated as phenomenon rather than absolute, which meant it could be understood, manipulated, perhaps even ignored. The Jedi Order had spent 10,000 years believing they served the cosmic will of reality itself. They were about to discover they'd been serving one localized energy field among countless others. And now something from beyond that field had arrived to teach them what existed in the spaces between. The lessons had already begun, whether the galaxy wanted to learn them or not. Jedi Temple, Younglings Dormitory, 0237 hours, Galactic Standard Time. Jedi Instructor Bren Kohler found all 17 younglings awake, standing in perfect formation in the center of the dormitory, not moving, not speaking, just standing, staring at the wall where ancient Jedi texts were inscribed in High Galactic. Younglings, Kohler said carefully, activating his lightsaber for illumination rather than threat. It's the middle of the night. Why aren't you sleeping? We can't sleep, young Petro replied, his voice flat. The whispers are too loud when we close our eyes. What whispers? The ones teaching us the true names. Petro turned, and his eyes, normally bright with childish enthusiasm, carried something else, something older. Did you know the Force has a mathematical structure, that it follows geometric patterns? The whispers are showing us. Look. He pointed at the wall. The inscriptions were changing, not physically. But when Kohler looked at them, the ancient Jedi wisdom transformed, the words staying the same but the meaning shifting, revealing mathematical proofs beneath philosophical teachings, geometric certainties underlying mystical guidance. That's not possible, Kohler whispered. The Jedi lied to us, youngling Katuni said, her voice carrying no accusation, just statement of fact. They said the Force was in all things, but the whispers show us spaces where the Force doesn't reach, gaps in reality. And in those gaps, she paused, struggling with concepts beyond her years. Other things exist. The whispers come from there. Kohler reached through the Force to sense what was wrong with his students. Found nothing wrong, found nothing at all. The younglings registered as voids, not dark side, not corrupted, just absent, like trying to sense statues instead of living beings. "Come with me," Kolar said, forcing calm into his voice. "We're going to see Master Yoda, all of you. Now." They followed with disturbing compliance, moving in synchronized precision that Jedi training didn't teach, their small feet making no sound on the temple's ancient floors. Behind them, the inscriptions on the dormitory wall continued changing, revealing layers of meaning that had always been there, but required new perception to see. The younglings had learned to see, and couldn't unsee. The Jedi Council chamber an hour later. Master Yoda studied the 17 younglings through the Force and saw nothing. Not darkness, not light, just interference, like they'd been wrapped in something that blocked Force perception without actually touching the Force itself. "Meditate with me, young ones will," Yoda said gently. "Show me what the whispers teach." The younglings sat in meditation circle, small hands folded, breathing synchronized with disturbing precision. Yoda reached through the Force to touch their minds and fell into something that wasn't the Force. Geometric patterns, mathematical certainty, instructions written in neural architecture. And beneath it all, a signal from beyond, not dark, not light, just different, showing him reality the Force had never revealed because it existed outside the Force's spectrum. He saw the galaxy from outside, saw the Force as localized energy field rather than cosmic absolute. "I saw 10,000 years of Jedi philosophy as interpretation of local phenomenon, not universal truth. Saw other realities where the Force never evolved, where different rules governed existence, where beings achieved civilization through mathematics rather than mysticism, through certainty rather than faith. And from one of those realities, something had reached through the gaps, found a galaxy that relied on cosmic energy, and begun teaching it a different way." Yoda pulled back from the meditation, gasping, his ancient heart hammering. "Master Yoda," Mace Windu approached with concern. "What did you see?" "The truth," Yoda whispered. "Terrible, beautiful, undeniable truth. The Force is not absolute. Limited it is. Local. And these younglings." He looked at the children with something approaching awe, perceiving beyond its boundaries they are, learning to see what the Force cannot show. "That's impossible," Windu insisted. "The Force encompasses all reality. That's—" "Look at them," Yoda interrupted, gesturing at the younglings. "Through the Force, can you sense them?" Windu reached out, found nothing. His expression cracked with realization and horror. "They're still alive," Yoda continued, "still conscious, still themselves, but perceiving reality through different framework now, not Force-sensitive, something else. And if the younglings can learn this, if children can perceive beyond the Force," his ears drooped with exhaustion, "what happens to the Jedi Order?" Before Windu could answer, Jedi Knight Tavik Mora burst into the council chamber, his composure shattered. "Masters!" The artifact room. "Someone's trying to touch the marker fragment through the Force." They ran. Artifact containment. Sub-level 7 Jedi Master Jocasta. Nu stood before the containment field, housing the fragment recovered from the derelict, a piece of the larger artifact, black crystal covered in markings that hurt to see. Her hand extended toward it, Force energy flowing, probing, trying to understand. "Master Nu, step away!" Windu shouted. She didn't respond, didn't move, just stood with hand outstretched, reaching toward something that didn't respond to Force manipulation. Yoda entered the chamber cautiously. "Jocasta, hear me, can you?" "I can hear everything," Nu replied, her voice distant. "For the first time in my life, Master Yoda, I can hear clearly, without the Force's interference, without mystical interpretation clouding pure perception." She turned, and her eyes reflected the fragment's non-light. "Do you know what I found when I reached for this artifact through the Force?" "What found you? What did?" "Nothing. The Force cannot touch it, cannot perceive it. It exists in reality's blind spots, spaces where cosmic energy doesn't reach. And in those spaces, tears streamed down her face. There's so much more. Mathematics that explains what the Force treats as mystery. Geometric certainty where we've relied on faith. Instructions for perceiving reality as it actually is, not filtered through Force sensitivity." "Jocasta, corrupting you, this isn't corruption." Nu's voice rose with desperate conviction. "Corruption implies degradation. This is elevation, clarity. For centuries, I've been the Jedi Archive's keeper, studying Force techniques, cataloging mystical traditions, and all of it was just interpreting one local energy field. We've been so arrogant, thinking the Force made us special, made us chosen, but we're not chosen. We're just limited to perceiving one narrow spectrum of reality." She stepped toward the containment field, hand pressing against the barrier. "The marker shows me what's beyond that spectrum, shows me realities where the Force never evolved, where beings achieved greater understanding through pure mathematics, pure logic, pure certainty. We've been children playing with toys, thinking we understand the universe because we can manipulate one energy field." "Remove her," Windu ordered, "immediately, whatever that thing is doing to her mind." "It's not doing anything to my mind," Nu interrupted calmly. "It's showing my mind what it's always been capable of perceiving. The Force limited us, made us think reality was smaller than it is, made us comfortable with incomplete understanding." Yoda approached slowly, reaching through the Force toward his old friend, found the same interference, the same void where Jedi presence should register. "Lost to us you are," Yoda said quietly, grief heavy in his voice. "No," Nu replied, smiling with terrifying serenity. "Found I am. For the first time in my life, I'm not lost in mystical confusion. I see clearly, and soon," she looked at the fragment, "everyone will see. The marker's signal is spreading, teaching, preparing. You can fight it, Master Yoda. You can cling to Force dependence and mystical faith. Or you can open your perception and learn what reality actually is." "And what reality is, you believe you know?" "I know reality is larger than the Force. I know there are spaces between cosmic energy where other rules govern. I know something from those spaces has arrived to teach us. And I know," her smile widened, "the Jedi Order's 10,000 years of philosophy was just one civilization's interpretation of local phenomenon. We're not special, not chosen, just limited, and our limitation is ending." She pressed her hand against the containment field. The marker fragment pulsed, and every Force-sensitive being in the temple, simultaneously felt it, a touch from outside. Not dark side, not light side, not force at all, just presence that existed in reality's blind spots, teaching them that the force had blind spots, that cosmic energy wasn't cosmic at all, just local, finite, incomplete, and something from beyond its boundaries had arrived to prove it. Emperor Palpatine sat in darkness that had always felt like home. For decades, the dark side had been his ally, his weapon, his window into futures he could shape through manipulation and foresight. He'd orchestrated the fall of the Jedi, the rise of the Empire, the transformation of democracy into dictatorship, all guided by precognition and power the dark side provided. Now, for the first time in 50 years, he felt blind, not powerless. His connection to the dark side remained strong, his ability to manipulate the Force undiminished. But when he reached for the future, for the visions that had always shown him paths forward, static, interference, futures that contradicted each other, timelines that branched into mathematical impossibilities, visions that ended abruptly as if reality itself had blind spots his precognition couldn't penetrate. "Show me," Palpatine commanded the darkness, channeling dark side energy with intensity that would have killed lesser Force users. "Show me what this signal is. Show me what threatens my empire." The Force responded, but what it showed made no sense. Not a vision of future or past, not imagery at all, just mathematics, geometric proofs, patterns that existed outside three-dimensional space, and at their center, a structure that shouldn't be possible, a shape that was simultaneously obelisk, instruction set, and doorway to spaces where the Force had never reached. Palpatine recoiled from the vision, your yellow eyes wide with something he'd nearly forgotten. Fear, not fear of defeat, not fear of losing power, fear of irrelevance. "Lord Sidious," Vader's voice came through the calm, mechanical breathing, unmistakable. "I have investigated the signal's origin. The derelict vessel contains an artifact. Our forces cannot approach it without without experiencing psychological deterioration." "What kind of deterioration?" "They see things, memories of the dead, instructions in languages they don't know, mathematical proofs that override conscious thought. Master, I believe this artifact exists outside the Force's jurisdiction. It doesn't corrupt through dark side influence. It simply..." Vader struggled with words. "Teaches, shows our personnel realities the Force cannot reveal." Palpatine's withered hands clenched. "Bring me a fragment. Contained, shielded. I will study it personally." "Master, with respect, every Force sensitive who has approached the artifact reports..." "I am not every Force sensitive," Palpatine interrupted, voice dropping to lethal quiet. "I have mastered the dark side completely. I have peered into the depths of the Force and emerged with knowledge the Jedi feared. If this artifact exists outside the Force, then I will bring it inside. I will dominate it as I have dominated everything else. Bring me a fragment." Silence. Then, "As you command, my master." The calm went dead. Now Palpatine sat alone, reaching through the Force for certainty, found only questions. For 50 years he'd believed the dark side was the path to ultimate power, that through hatred, manipulation, and dominance he could bend reality to his will. The Sith philosophy was absolute. The Force was everything, and those who mastered its dark side became gods. But what if the Sith philosophy was incomplete? What if the Force itself, light and dark, was just one facet of reality? What if there were powers beyond the Force's reach? The thought should have excited him. New power, new knowledge, new ways to dominate. Instead, it terrified him, because if the Force was limited, if his precognition was fallible, if something existed that Sith philosophy couldn't explain, then his power was limited too. And limitation was unacceptable. 12 hours later, the containment unit arrived under maximum security. 20 stormtroopers, 4 inquisitors, a portable shielding that could contain a thermal detonator blast. Inside, a fragment of black crystal the size of a human fist, covered in markings that seemed to move when viewed peripherally. Palpatine dismissed everyone, sealed the chamber, stood alone before the fragment. "What are you?" he whispered to the artifact. It didn't respond. He reached through the Force, channeling dark side energy, probing the fragment with power that had broken Jedi minds and shattered planetary defenses. The fragment remained inert, not resistant, not fighting back, just unaffected, like trying to use the Force on vacuum itself. Palpatine increased power, pouring decades of dark side mastery into the probe, demanding the artifact reveal its nature, commanding it through sheer will. Nothing. The fragment simply existed, completely indifferent to Force manipulation. And in that indifference, Palpatine felt something he'd spent 50 years denying: his insignificance. The Force, light and dark, was everything to Force users. It defined reality, explained the universe, provided the framework through which Jedi and Sith understood existence. This fragment didn't care about the Force, didn't acknowledge it, existed in spaces where cosmic energy had no jurisdiction. "You're not alive," Palpatine realized aloud. "Not sentient, not even technology in any sense I understand. You're..." He paused, mind racing through possibilities. Instructions, recursive, self-modifying, like a virus that infects perception itself. He circled the containment unit, studying the fragment from every angle. You show people what the Force cannot. Teach them to perceive beyond cosmic energy, and once they learn, once they see reality without Force filtering, they can't unsee it, can't return to Force dependence. You're not conquering the galaxy through power, you're conquering it through education. The fragment pulsed, just once, so subtle Palpatine almost missed it. But in that pulse he felt recognition, not sentience, not intelligence, but acknowledgement that his analysis was correct. The fragment was teaching, and he was learning. "No," Palpatine said firmly, stepping back. "I will not be taught. I am the teacher, the master. I have bent the Force to my will. I will not submit to instruction from something that doesn't even understand power." He raised his hands, lightning crackling between his fingers, pure dark side energy, enough to reduce a human to ash, unleashed it on the fragment. The lightning struck the containment unit. The shields flared. The fragment remained completely unaffected, sitting in its container, indifferent to power that would have killed anyone else. Palpatine staggered, exhausted from the effort. The fragment pulsed again, and this time Palpatine saw Not a vision, not force-granted insight, just understanding, mathematical certainty. The fragment wasn't vulnerable to force lightning because force lightning was electromagnetic energy channeled through cosmic force. The fragment existed in spaces where the force didn't reach. Different rules, different physics, different reality. To affect it, he'd need power that existed outside the force's spectrum, power he didn't have, power he'd never even imagined needing. Palpatine fell to his knees, breathing hard, yellow eyes wide with realization that shook his entire worldview. He was limited. The Sith were limited. The Force itself was limited. And something from beyond those limits had arrived to teach the galaxy a lesson the Sith had spent millennia refusing to learn. Power without understanding was just sophisticated ignorance. The dark side could dominate the Force, but the Force itself was just one narrow spectrum of reality, and in the infinite spaces beyond that spectrum, other things existed. With things that didn't need the Force, things that existed according to different rules, things that would teach the galaxy those rules whether it wanted to learn or not. "What have we done?" Palpatine whispered to the indifferent fragment. "For 10,000 years, Jedi and Sith, we've fought over control of the Force. We've built our entire civilization around cosmic energy. Our philosophies, our religions, our very understanding of reality, and all of it." His voice broke. All of it was just one civilization's interpretation of local phenomenon. The fragment pulsed again, teaching, patient, inevitable. And Emperor Palpatine, who had destroyed the Jedi Order, who had corrupted a chosen one, who had transformed a republic into an empire, learned what fear actually meant. Not fear of losing power, fear that power had never mattered, that everything he'd built was sand castles on a beach where the tide was rising. And the tide came from oceans the Force had never touched. Clone Barracks, Coruscant Military District, 0400 hours. Clone Commander Cody woke to voices he recognized but shouldn't hear. "Cody, brother, why did you let us die?" He sat up fast, blaster in hand, before conscious thought caught up to training. The barracks was dark, empty except for sleeping brothers. But the voice continued. "You were our commander. You were supposed to keep us alive. Remember Umbara. Remember how you ordered us into that minefield. You remember watching us explode while you stayed safe behind cover?" "That's not," Cody started, then stopped. Because he did remember Umbara, remembered every detail with surgical precision, the sound of his brothers screaming as mines detonated, the smell of cauterized flesh, the way their helmet comms went dead one by one. But the voice was right. He had ordered them forward. He had stayed in cover. They had died while he survived. "Brothers die in war," Cody said to the empty darkness. "It wasn't your fault?" Another voice, CT-7567, Rex, his closest brother. "That's what you tell yourself, that following orders absolves you. We trusted you, Cody. We died because you valued mission success over our lives." "Rex is alive," Cody said firmly. "You're not Rex. You're not real." "We're as real as memory," the voice replied. "We're the brothers you carry with you, the ones you see when you close your eyes, the guilt you've buried under duty. We've always been here. You just couldn't hear us before." Cody activated his helmet's comms. "This is Commander Cody to medical. I'm experiencing. Experiencing what? A third voice, his first squad leader, killed during the Clone Wars opening battle. Truth. We're not hallucinations, Cody. We're memories given voice. The signal just lets us speak. Around the barracks, other clones stirred. CT-5555 sat up gasping. CT-2187 stumbled toward the refresher, muttering to himself. CT-9174 activated his blaster, aiming at empty corners. They're hearing them too. The voices chorused. All the brothers, all the dead speaking to the living. We've been silent for so long. Now we finally get to ask, was our sacrifice worth it? Did you ever wonder if the war was justified? Or did you just follow orders because that's what you were designed to do? We're soldiers, Cody said through clenched teeth. Following orders is what keeps us alive. Following orders is what got us killed, the voices replied. Following orders made you complicit in genocide. Following orders turned you into weapons instead of people. You were bred for war, Cody, made to die without question, and you never asked if that was right. You just obeyed. Cody's hands shook because they were right. He'd never questioned, never wondered if the war was justified, never considered that breeding sentient beings for combat might be wrong. He'd just followed orders, like he was designed to. We're not defective, Cody whispered. We chose to serve. Did you? The voices asked. Or did Kaminoans program that choice into your genetics? Can you even tell the difference between genuine loyalty and engineered obedience? Cody had no answer. And throughout the military district, in barracks where thousands of clones tried to sleep, the same conversations repeated. Dead brothers speaking through memory, asking questions the living couldn't answer. Questions about choice, about free will, about whether soldiers bred for war were people or property. The signal didn't need to corrupt them, just needed to make them think. Civilian Housing Block 7. A Senate District Senator, Mira Cantal, saw her daughter standing in the hallway outside her bedroom. Lyra, dead for 3 years, killed in a shuttle accident, cremated, gone, but standing there anyway. Perfect in every detail, the way she'd worn her hair, the scar on her left hand from childhood, the slight asymmetry in her smile. Mom, Lyra said, why didn't you come to my graduation? You died before graduation, Mira whispered, hand pressed to her mouth. I know, but you promised you'd be there. You said nothing would keep you away, and then you missed it because you had a Senate vote. Politics mattered more than your daughter. Even in memory, you choose the Senate over me. That's not fair. You know I loved. Love isn't presence, Lyra interrupted. Love is showing up. You didn't. Not for my graduation. Not for my concerts. Not for anything that conflicted with your political career. You told yourself you were serving the greater good, building a better galaxy for me. But Mom, tears streamed down the dead girl's face. I just wanted my mother. Mira reached out, hand passing through her daughter's image like smoke. Not hologram, not physical, just memory given form. I'm sorry, Mira sobbed. I'm so sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought. You thought politics mattered more than people, Lyra said. You still do. Even now, with your dead daughter standing here, you're thinking about Senate hearings tomorrow, about legislation, about power. We're having this conversation and you're already planning how to compartmentalize this trauma so it doesn't affect your performance. Mira opened her mouth to deny it. Couldn't, because Lyra was right. Even devastated by grief, her mind was calculating political angles. Considering how this psychological break might affect her career, planning damage control. "What's wrong with me?" Mira whispered. "Nothing," Lyra replied sadly. "You're exactly what the galaxy made you, a politician who learned to value systems over individuals, principles over people, the greater good over the immediate need. You're not evil, Mom, just broken in ways this civilization considers normal." The image faded. Mira stood alone in her hallway, tears streaming, realizing the signal hadn't shown her anything false, just forced her to see truths she'd been avoiding. Throughout the Senate district, similar scenes played out. Dead family members speaking to living relatives, not with supernatural knowledge, but with the perfect clarity of memory unfiltered by denial or rationalization. The signal didn't lie. It just removed the lies people told themselves. Jedi Temple Medical Wing Padawan Cora Ven sat in the examination room while Master Shakti studied her with growing concern. "You're not sleeping," Shakti observed. "Can't," Cora replied. "Every time I close my eyes, I see Master Jaro, my first teacher, the one who died on Geonosis. He tells me I failed him, that I could have saved him if I'd been stronger in the Force, that my weakness cost him his life. Master Jaro's death was not your fault." "Wasn't it?" Cora's voice carried desperate need for absolution. "I was his Padawan. I was supposed to watch his back, but I froze during the battle, got scared. He had to protect me instead of defending himself. And he died because I was weak." Shakti reached through the Force to soothe her student's anguish, found only interference. The signal had wrapped itself around Cora's memories, amplifying guilt, forcing her to confront every failure without the Force's gentle filtering. "The signal is exploiting your trauma," Shakti said. "It's not showing you truth, it's showing you the worst interpretation of events." "Is it though?" Cora looked up, eyes red from crying. "Or is it showing me what I've been hiding from myself? Maybe I am responsible. Maybe every person I couldn't save died because I wasn't good enough. And I've been using Jedi philosophy. Trust the Force. Let go of attachment to avoid taking responsibility." "That's not what those teachings mean." "Then what do they mean?" Cora's voice rose. "Because it feels like they mean, don't feel too much, don't question too much, don't think too much. Just trust that the Force has a plan and your failures are part of some cosmic balance. That's not wisdom, Master. That's just avoiding guilt through mystical rationalization." Shakti had no response. Because stripped of Jedi philosophy, confronted with raw psychological truth, Cora might be right. The Jedi Order taught letting go of attachment, trusting the Force, accepting that death was transformation. Beautiful philosophy, also convenient philosophy for warriors who regularly watched people die and needed to keep functioning. "The signal isn't corrupting you," Shakti realized aloud. "It's removing the philosophical frameworks that let you cope with trauma. It's forcing you to feel everything without mystical context, without the Force's comfort." "And I can't do it," Cora whispered. "I can't carry this guilt without the Force helping me process it." without Jedi teachings telling me it's okay that people died, I'm not strong enough. None of us are, Shakti admitted quietly. That's why we built the philosophy, not because it's true, because it's necessary, because warriors who felt everything would break. We need the Force to filter trauma, to make violence bearable, to let us sleep after battle. Then what happens now when the signal strips away that filtering? Shakti looked at her Padawan, young, damaged, carrying guilt no child should carry. We endure, she said. We survive. We find strength without mystical comfort. Or, she paused, we don't. And the signal teaches the galaxy that Force users were only functional because we had philosophical armor. Remove that armor, and we're just traumatized warriors who never properly processed what we've done. Around the temple, the same realization spread. The Jedi weren't strong. They'd just been protected by philosophy, by the Force's gentle filtering, by 10,000 years of teachings designed to make violence sustainable. The signal removed that protection, and underneath, the Jedi were just people carrying impossible weight, breaking under it, learning that faith wasn't strength, just comfortable denial. Master Yoda sat in meditation, reaching for the future as he'd done for 800 years, saw nothing coherent, futures that contradicted themselves, timelines that branched impossibly, visions that ended mid-sequence as if reality had gaps his precognition couldn't bridge. Predict the separatist fleet movements I cannot, Yoda admitted, his voice heavy with exhaustion. The Force shows fragments, contradictions. Where clarity once was, static remains. It's the same for all of us, Master Mace Windu said, pacing with barely controlled frustration. I tried to sense danger during yesterday's Senate hearing. My precognition warned of threat from 3 different directions simultaneously, all contradicting each other. By the time I sorted through the interference, the actual threat had passed. Our tactical advantage is failing, Master Kit Fisto added. Jedi have always succeeded in combat because we see attacks before they happen, react to danger through precognition, but now, he gestured helplessly, the Force shows us possibilities instead of certainties. We're fighting blind. Not blind, Yoda corrected quietly. Fighting like everyone else fights, without supernatural advantage, without cosmic guidance. The signal doesn't block the Force. It shows us what Force perception looks like, without absolute clarity. Shows us we were never truly seeing the future, just interpreting probabilities through mystical framework. That's heresy, Windu said flatly. Is it, or is it truth? Yoda's ears drooped. For 10,000 years, trusted our visions we have. Believed the Force showed us destiny. But what if showing us statistical likelihood filtered through our own biases? It was. What if the Force never granted true precognition? Just enhanced pattern recognition we interpreted as prophecy. The council fell silent, because if Yoda was right, if their visions were interpretation rather than revelation, then every prophecy, every Force-guided decision, every carefully constructed philosophy about destiny was built on misunderstanding. The chosen one prophecy, Windu said slowly, if precognition is unreliable, then the prophecy may be self-fulfilling, Yoda finished. We believed Anakin would bring balance, trained him according to that belief, created the very circumstances that led to... He stopped, pain evident in his ancient features. To Vader, Windu finished quietly. We created Vader by believing prophecy. The weight of that realization crushed them. Sith Temple, Mustafar, concurrent Darth Vader, reached for the dark side, channeling rage and hatred as he'd been trained. The power responded. But wrong. His force choke, previously effortless, flickered. The target gasped, recovered, gasped again as Vader's concentration wavered against interference he couldn't identify. "My lord," the officer wheezed, "please." Vader released him, hand trembling microscopically. His control was failing, not his power. His connection to the dark side remained strong, but the precision was gone. The surgical certainty with which he'd wielded the Force for decades had degraded into something crude, unreliable. He tried a simple telekinetic pull, moving an object across the room. It jerked forward, stopped midair, fell, rose again as if the Force itself couldn't maintain consistent focus. "What is happening to me?" Vader demanded of the empty chamber. The dark side whispered back, "Nothing is happening to you. Something is happening to the Force itself." The signal interferes, shows the Force as it actually is, not absolute power but energy field subject to interference. You feel it as weakness, but it's just reality without mystical certainty. Vader recoiled from the understanding. The dark side was supposed to grant power through hatred, certainty through passion, control through domination. The Sith philosophy promised that embracing emotion made you stronger than Jedi who suppressed it. But if the Force itself was unreliable, if cosmic energy could be interfered with, then Sith power was just as vulnerable as Jedi serenity. "Master," Vader spoke into his comm, "my abilities are compromised. The Force responds, but inconsistently. I cannot maintain the precision required for..." "I know," Palpatine's voice interrupted, carrying exhaustion Vader had never heard before. "The interference affects all Force users, Jedi and Sith equally. The signal doesn't distinguish between light and dark. It treats all Force manipulation as equally limited, equally local, equally..." The Emperor's voice broke slightly. Equally irrelevant compared to what exists beyond the Force's spectrum. "Then how do we fight it?" "I don't know," Palpatine admitted. "For the first time in 50 years, Lord Vader, I don't know. And that uncertainty terrifies me more than any enemy ever has." Senate Building Intelligence Briefing Admiral Wolf. Yularen stood before holographic displays, showing reports from across the galaxy. "The breakdown is accelerating," Yularen reported to assembled Moffs and military commanders. Clone forces report decreased combat effectiveness, psychological trauma manifesting as hesitation, questioning of orders, refusal to engage. Jedi tactical support is unreliable due to compromised precognition, and civilian populations across 15 sectors are experiencing mass hallucinations, work stoppages, riots. "What's causing the hallucinations?" Moff Jerjerrod asked. "Memory," Yularen replied. "The signal amplifies memory, removes psychological defenses. He forces people to confront trauma without the coping mechanisms they've built. Citizens see dead family members, soldiers hear fallen comrades. Everyone experiences guilt, regret, and pain they'd successfully compartmentalized until now." Can we block the signal? No, it's not using conventional transmission methods. It exists. Yularen paused, checking his notes with visible discomfort. According to Imperial Science Division, it exists in what they're calling sub-force frequencies, spaces between normal reality where the Force doesn't operate. We'd need technology that works outside the Force's spectrum to block it. Technology we don't have. Technology we never imagined needing. What about the Jedi? Another Moff asked. Can they counter this through Force techniques? The Jedi are experiencing the worst effects, Yularen said grimly. Their entire philosophy is built on Force dependence. Remove that foundation, and they collapse faster than regular citizens. We've received reports of Jedi Masters unable to function, Padawans experiencing psychological breaks, younglings asking questions that undermine 10,000 years of doctrine. So the Jedi Order is failing, Moff Tarkin observed with satisfaction. Perhaps this signal is an opportunity. Let it destroy our Force-using enemies while we... It's destroying everyone, Moff Tarkin, Yularen interrupted. Jedi, Sith, citizens, clones. The signal doesn't distinguish, it just teaches, shows everyone what exists beyond the Force. And once people learn that the Force isn't absolute, that there are realities where cosmic energy never evolved, our entire civilization's philosophical foundation collapses. Then we suppress the knowledge, Tarkin said. Information control. Standard protocol. You can't suppress knowledge that plants itself directly in neural architecture, Yularen replied. The signal doesn't need media to spread. It teaches through perception itself. Everyone who's exposed carries the information now, and they can't unlearn it. The briefing room fell silent as the implications settled. The galaxy's entire civilization was built on the Force. Jedi philosophy, Sith tradition, Republic democracy influenced by Force users, Imperial power enforced by Force wielders. Every major decision for 10,000 years had involved Force-sensitive guidance. And now the Force itself was revealed as limited, local. Just one phenomenon among countless others. What happened to a civilization when its fundamental assumption was proven false? Jedi Temple, archive-level Jocasta Nu, stood before the ancient texts, seeing them with new clarity. Every Jedi teaching, every prophecy, every carefully constructed philosophy about balance, destiny, and cosmic will, all interpretation of local phenomenon. The Force was real, but the Jedi understanding of it was incomplete. Like primitive humans interpreting lightning as divine anger instead of electrical discharge, the Force connected living things, but only in this galaxy, only in this region of space where cosmic energy had evolved. Elsewhere, in the vast spaces between galaxies, in the realities where different rules governed, the Force didn't exist, and beings from those other realities had achieved understanding without it. Greater understanding. Because they'd learned reality through mathematics rather than mysticism, through certainty rather than faith, through direct perception rather than force-filtered interpretation. We've been children, Nu whispered to the empty archives, playing with one toy, thinking it was the entire universe. The Force gave us power, so we believed power was everything, but it was just one tool, one limited, local, the ultimately irrelevant tool in a reality so much larger than we imagined. She pulled out a datapad, began writing. New philosophy, new understanding, built on what the marker had taught her. The Jedi Order is concluded, not destroyed, just rendered obsolete. We served the Force because we believed it was absolute. Now we know it's not. So what do we serve? What guides us when cosmic energy proves insufficient? The marker shows us mathematics, certainty, direct perception of reality without mystical filtering. We can choose to embrace this truth, or we can cling to comfortable lies. But we cannot unhear what we've learned. The Force has limits, and we've just discovered them. She sent the document to every Jedi in the Order and waited to see how many would choose truth over tradition, how many would admit that everything they'd believed was incomplete, how many would accept that the galaxy was larger than the Force, and that something from beyond the Force had arrived to teach them. 48 hours after signal onset, the Jedi Order was splitting, not violently, not dramatically, just fracturing along philosophical fault lines that had always existed beneath the surface. Master Mace Windu stood on one side of the chamber, backed by traditionalists who believed the Force remained absolute despite the interference. Master Jocasta Nu stood opposite, supported by 23 Jedi who'd accepted the marker's teachings, that the Force was local, limited, and insufficient. But between them, Master Yoda, ancient and exhausted, trying to hold together an order that was disintegrating under philosophical weight. The Force is eternal, Windu declared, his voice carrying the certainty of someone defending fundamental truth. This signal, this interference, is temporary, a test. We remain faithful, we trust in the Force, and we will endure. Faithful to what? Nu countered. To philosophy built on incomplete understanding. The marker shows us realities where the Force never evolved, where beings achieved civilization through mathematics, not mysticism. Are you saying those realities are less valid, that the Force's absence makes them inferior? I'm saying the Force binds the galaxy together. Without it, we're just what? Human? Nu's voice rose with passion. We're already human, Mace. The Force doesn't make us better. It makes us dependent, gives us crutch we call power. But strip away the Force, and we're still conscious beings capable of understanding reality. The marker proves it, shows us direct perception without Force filtering, and you call that heresy because it threatens your worldview. It threatens the Jedi Order, Windu shot back. Everything we've built, everything we've protected for 10,000 years. Perhaps the Jedi Order deserves to fall, Nu said quietly. Perhaps we've been obstacles to true understanding. Force users claiming special connection to cosmic will, when really we're just interpreting local energy field through mystical framework. We've made ourselves gatekeepers of truth when we're just people with one limited tool. That tool has kept the galaxy safe. Has it? Master Ki-Adi-Mundi interrupted, his voice troubled. Or have we perpetuated dependence on Force users? Made the galaxy believe it needs us because we claimed exclusive access to cosmic guidance. I've been reviewing historical records. Every major conflict for the past 1,000 years involved Force users on both sides, Jedi and Sith, fighting over interpretation of the same energy field. What if we're not the solution? What if we're part of the problem? This is exactly what the signal wants, Windu said desperately. To make us doubt ourselves, question our purpose, abandon the Force. No one's abandoning the Force, Yoda interrupted, his ancient voice cutting through the argument. Using the Force, we still can. But understanding its limits, we must. Absolute it is not. Local it is. And accepting that truth, we must. Or clinging to comfortable lies, we will be. While the galaxy burns around us. The chamber fell silent. Master Yoda, Windu said carefully, are you suggesting we accept the marker's teachings? Suggesting I am that reality matters more than philosophy, Yoda replied. For 800 years trusted the Force I have. Believed it absolute, but wrong I was. Limited the Force is. And admitting limitation is not weakness, is wisdom. The marker shows us truth, uncomfortable truth, but truth nonetheless. Then what happens to the Jedi Order? A younger knight asked. If the Force isn't absolute, if our philosophy is incomplete, what do we become? Something new, Yoda said. Or nothing, but clinging to old certainties while reality proves them false. That is true death, not of body, but of mind, of growth, of possibility. Imperial Palace Sith perspective. Emperor Palpatine stood before his inner circle. 3 Sith Lords, 12 Darkseid Adepts, and Vader, all summoned to address the crisis, fracturing their philosophy as thoroughly as it was fracturing the Jedi's. The dark side grants power through passion, Lord Jadis argued, his voice carrying desperation masked as conviction. Through hatred, we dominate the Force. This interference is temporary. It's not temporary, Palpatine interrupted, his voice carrying exhaustion that silenced the chamber. I've studied the marker personally, attempted to dominate it through dark side mastery, failed, because the marker exists outside the Force's jurisdiction. Our power, Jedi and Sith, is limited to reality where cosmic energy operates. Beyond that spectrum, we're powerless. Then we expand our power, Darth Vader suggested. Learn to manipulate what exists beyond the Force. With what tools? Palpatine demanded. Our entire tradition is built on Force manipulation. We have no framework for understanding reality that exists outside cosmic energy. The marker isn't corrupting us through dark side influence. It's showing us that dark side influence is irrelevant to realities where the Force never evolved. Then those realities are inferior, another Sith declared, weak, limited by lack of Force. Are they? Palpatine's yellow eyes swept the chamber. Beings from those realities created the marker, a technology that functions independent of cosmic energy. That teaches through direct perception rather than mystical intermediary. That spreads across the galaxy despite our best efforts to contain it. If they're inferior, why are we losing? No one answered. The Sith philosophy promised ultimate power, Palpatine continued, through passion, through domination, through embracing the dark side completely. But that philosophy assumed the Force was everything, was absolute. The marker proves we were wrong, and now we face choice, admit our philosophy is incomplete, or cling to dogma while something beyond our understanding conquers the galaxy. You're suggesting we abandon the dark side? Vader asked carefully. I'm suggesting the dark side is insufficient, Palpatine corrected. Not false, not weak, just limited, one tool among many. And beings who relied exclusively on that tool are now confronting realities where it doesn't work. Then what do we do? Palpatine had no answer. For 50 years, he'd believed Sith philosophy was ultimate truth, that through dark side mastery, he could bend reality to his will. That power was everything. Now he understood. Power within one system meant nothing when facing something from outside that system. The Sith were masters of the Force, but the Force itself was just local phenomenon. And mastery of local phenomenon was provincialism disguised as dominance. We learn, Palpatine said finally, or we die. Those are the only options reality allows. Public broadcast galactic-wide transmission. Senator Bail Organa appeared on every holoscreen across the Republic, his face showing exhaustion that resonated with billions watching. Citizens of the Republic, he began, voice steady despite obvious strain. I'm addressing you tonight because silence has become impossible. For weeks, we've all experienced the same phenomena. Voices of the dead, mathematical visions, interference with our understanding of reality. The Senate has received 10,000 reports. The Jedi Temple is overwhelmed with similar accounts, and Imperial authorities confirm the situation is galaxy-wide. He paused, gathering strength. We don't know what's causing this. The Jedi call it interference with the Force. Scientists call it signal from unknown source. But everyone agrees. Something has entered our reality and is teaching us truths we've been unprepared to learn. The Jedi Order is fracturing over philosophical disputes about the Force's nature. The Republic is struggling to maintain order as citizens confront traumas they'd successfully buried. And our entire civilization, built on assumption that the Force binds everything, is learning that assumption may be incomplete. I don't have answers. No one does. But I have a request. Don't panic. Don't turn on each other. Don't let fear drive us to desperate actions. We're all experiencing the same revelation. That reality is larger than we believed. That the Force, while real, is not absolute. That there are spaces beyond cosmic energy where different rules govern. This knowledge is uncomfortable, frightening. It challenges everything we've believed for 10,000 years. But knowledge itself isn't evil, it's just knowledge. What we do with it determines whether we grow or collapse. So I'm asking, let's grow. Let's accept that we were wrong about the Force being everything. Let's build new philosophy that incorporates what we're learning. Let's become something greater than Force-dependent civilization, clinging to comfortable lies. Or, his voice dropped, we can fight this truth. Deny what we're experiencing. Cling to dogma while reality proves it false. And we can watch our civilization crumble because we valued comfortable certainty over uncomfortable growth. The choice is ours, all of ours, not just Jedi or Sith or Senate. Every citizen across the galaxy faces the same decision, accept that we're part of something larger than the Force, or pretend we're not and pay the price for willful ignorance. Choose wisely, choose honestly, and choose soon, because something from beyond our understanding has arrived. And it's not leaving just because we find its teachings inconvenient. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions made their choices. Some clung to Force dependence, to Jedi philosophy, to Sith tradition, refusing to accept that cosmic energy was limited. Others embraced the new understanding, accepting that the Force was local, that reality was larger, that truth mattered more than comfortable certainty. The galaxy was splitting, not into light and dark, into those who could accept limitation and those who couldn't. And the signal continued broadcasting, patient and inevitable, teaching realities the Force had never shown, preparing the galaxy for what came next, for convergence. Coruscant Galactic City, level 2847. The first visible collapse began not in the Senate or Temple, but in Coruscant's infrastructure levels, where millions lived and worked maintaining the planet city's systems. Power grid operator Davon Kresh sat at his console, staring at readouts that made no sense, except they did, more sense than they should. His hands moved across the controls, de-implementing modifications he didn't remember learning, geometric patterns in power distribution that violated standard engineering but increased efficiency by 60%. Around him, 12 other operators worked with the same feverish precision, rewriting Coruscant's energy grid according to instructions the marker had embedded in their neural architecture. Kresh, his supervisor's voice cut through his concentration. "What are you doing? These modifications aren't authorized. They're not even possible according to engineering principles built on incomplete understanding," Kresh interrupted, not looking away from his work. "The marker shows better methods, direct mathematical certainty instead of trial and error approximation. Watch." He activated the modified grid. Coruscant's power distribution didn't fluctuate, didn't surge, just stabilized. Every building, every traffic lane, every life support system received exactly the power it needed, with zero waste, zero inefficiency. Impossible by conventional engineering, routine according to marker mathematics. "How did you?" the supervisor started. "I didn't," Kresh replied. "The marker did. Through me, it teaches. We learn. And once you learn, you can't pretend the old methods were sufficient. You just know better." The supervisor reached for the comm to report the unauthorized modifications. His hand stopped mid-reach, because he could see it now too. The geometric patterns, the mathematical certainty, the instructions the marker had planted in everyone exposed to the signal. He sat at his own console, began implementing identical modifications, and throughout Coruscant's infrastructure levels, the same scene repeated, workers abandoning conventional methods for marker teachings, rebuilding the city's systems according to mathematics that existed outside Force-based understanding. The city was being transformed, not destroyed, optimized, according to rules the galaxy had never encountered. Jedi Temple Archives level master Jocasta Nu watched 17 Padawans work in the archives, their hands moving in synchronized precision as they reorganized 10,000 years of Jedi knowledge, not destroying it, recontextualizing it. Every Force technique, every philosophical teaching, every carefully recorded prophecy being annotated with mathematical proofs that showed what the teachings actually were, interpretation of local phenomenon rather than cosmic truth. Master Nu, Padawan Cora Ven said, without looking up from her work. "I've found something. The Chosen One prophecy. When you analyze it mathematically rather than mystically, it's not prophecy at all," Nu finished. "It's pattern recognition. Statistical analysis of force-sensitive bloodlines showing probability of powerful individual emerging. The Jedi interpreted probability as destiny." "Which means Anakin wasn't chosen," Cora said quietly. "He was just probable. And we treated him as special, built our expectations around him, created the very circumstances that led to Vader," Nu confirmed. "We manifested our own prophecy through belief, but created our greatest enemy by treating statistical likelihood as cosmic certainty." Around them, the other Padawans continued working, their movements synchronized not through force connection, but through shared mathematical understanding the marker had taught them. They weren't corrupted, they were educated, and education couldn't be reversed. "The Council wants us to stop," Cora said. Master Windu issued orders to cease all archive modifications, to return to traditional Jedi teachings. "Will you obey?" Cora looked up, meeting Nu's eyes. "Can you unlearn mathematics once you understand it? Can you pretend geometric proof is opinion? The marker taught us reality, not philosophy, not interpretation, just what actually is. And Master Windu wants us to pretend we don't know, to value comfortable lies over uncomfortable truth. So what will you do?" "Keep learning," Cora said simply. "Keep understanding. Keep accepting that the Force is local, limited, and insufficient. Because pretending otherwise doesn't change reality, just makes us willfully ignorant." Nu felt pride and grief simultaneously, pride that her students valued truth, grief that truth was destroying the order she'd served for centuries. "The Jedi Order is ending," Nu said quietly, "not from Sith attack, from education. Once you learn the Force isn't absolute, you can't build philosophy on Force absolutism. The foundation crumbles, and everything built on it collapses. So what replaces it? Something new, something built on reality rather than mysticism, or..." Nu paused. "Nothing. And the galaxy learns to function without Force users claiming special authority. Either way, the Order as we knew it is concluded." Senate building emergency session. "Order, order," Chancellor Palpatine's voice thundered through the Senate chamber, but the chaos continued. The delegates from 50 systems were arguing simultaneously, some demanding the marker be destroyed, others insisting it be studied, still others claiming it represented first contact with intelligence beyond their reality. "The Force users have failed us," Senator Tyrius shouted. "For 10,000 years we've relied on Jedi guidance, Sith opposition, the eternal struggle between light and dark. And now we learn it was provincial dispute over local energy field. We've built our entire civilization on the assumption that Force users had special insight, but they're just as blind as we are." "The Jedi protect the Republic," another senator began. "With compromised abilities," Tyrius interrupted. "Their precognition fails. Their Force techniques flicker. They're no more capable than regular soldiers now. Why are we paying for their maintenance when they can't deliver the services we funded? Because civilization requires more than utility." Bail Organa stood, his voice cutting through the chaos. Yes, the Jedi are struggling. Yes, our understanding of the Force was incomplete. But abandoning Force users now, when they're vulnerable, when they need support, that reveals what we truly value. And if we only value them for their utility, then we're no better than the systems that treat people as property. The senator from Alderaan makes a compassionate argument, Palpatine said, his voice carrying lethal calm. But compassion doesn't address practical reality. The Jedi Order is fracturing. Force techniques are unreliable, and something from beyond our understanding is teaching our citizens mathematics that contradicts Force-based philosophy. So we face a crisis that Force users cannot solve because it exists outside their jurisdiction. So I ask the Senate, do we continue depending on Force users who are demonstrably insufficient? Or do we adapt? Adapt how, Chancellor? By accepting what the marker teaches, Palpatine replied, and every senator felt the weight of his words. By building new philosophy that doesn't rely on Force absolutism, by creating systems that function independent of cosmic energy, by growing beyond our dependence on mysticism into something greater. You're suggesting we abandon the Jedi? Organa asked carefully. I'm suggesting the Jedi already abandoned us, Palpatine corrected, by building philosophy on incomplete understanding, by claiming authority through Force connection when the Force itself is limited. They didn't lie intentionally, they just didn't know better. Now we do. And clinging to their obsolete philosophy while something beyond their comprehension teaches us reality. That's not loyalty, that's suicide. The Senate fell silent because Palpatine was right. The Jedi had been gatekeepers of truth, claiming special connection to cosmic will through the Force. But the marker proved the Force was local, limited, just one phenomenon among countless others, which meant Jedi authority was based on false premise, which meant the galaxy's entire power structure, built on Force user supremacy, was crumbling. Vote, Palpatine commanded, all in favor of establishing new governing philosophy independent of Force user guidance. Hands rose across the chamber. Not all, not even most, but enough. The Republic, 10,000 years of civilization built on Jedi philosophy, had just voted to move beyond the Force. And in the Temple, Jedi felt it through their compromised connection. Abandonment. Not from dark side corruption, not from Sith manipulation, from simple, terrible pragmatism. The galaxy was learning it didn't need Force users, didn't need Jedi protection or Sith opposition, didn't need the eternal struggle between light and dark, just needed to understand reality without mystical intermediary. The marker was teaching that understanding, and the galaxy was learning, whether the Force users wanted it to or not. The Imperial Intelligence Report, Eyes Only, Emperor Palpatine. Subject, Marker Influence Spread Analysis. Current status, 73% of Coruscant population shows marker-influenced behavior. Infrastructure modifications complete on 840 systems. Jedi Order, 47% accepting marker teachings, 53% resisting clone forces, 82% experiencing command hesitation, Force technique reliability, 34% baseline projection. At current rate, galaxy-wide marker saturation achieves critical mass in 47 standard days. A recommendation: stop resisting, start learning. The marker isn't conquering through force, it's conquering through education, and you cannot fight education with denial. Only with better education. We don't have better education. We never did. The force was just local phenomenon we mistook for universal truth. And now truth, actual truth, has arrived to correct our misunderstanding. Whether we survive that correction depends on whether we can accept being wrong for 10,000 years. Palpatine read the report 3 times, then burned it. Not because it was false, because it was true. And truth, for the first time in his life, was his enemy. Emperor Palpatine stood alone before the marker fragment, his yellow eyes reflecting its non-light. For 3 days he'd attempted every dark side technique in Sith tradition: force lightning, mind domination, essence transfer, ancient rituals that predated the Republic. Nothing worked. The fragment remained inert, not resistant, not fighting back, just unaffected, like trying to use the force on mathematics itself. "What are you?" Palpatine whispered, exhaustion cracking his usual control. "Not alive, not dead, not technology in any sense I understand. Your instructions, recursive, self-modifying, but instructions for what?" The fragment pulsed, and Palpatine saw, not a vision, not force-granted insight, just understanding that bypassed mystical interpretation and went directly to comprehension. The marker wasn't a weapon, wasn't an invasion, was a probe. Sent from reality where the Force never evolved, designed to find realities where it had. Not to conquer, to study, to understand how localized energy fields developed, how civilizations built around them, what happened when cosmic energy became fundamental to culture. The marker was first contact, not from hostile civilization, from curious one, beings from beyond the Force's spectrum, reaching through reality's gaps, touching this galaxy to learn about it. And the corruption, the interference, the psychological effects wasn't attack, was translation error. The marker trying to communicate using mathematics, while Force users tried to interpret through mysticism. 2 completely different frameworks attempting contact, with catastrophic misunderstanding as result. Palpatine staggered back from the revelation. "You're not trying to destroy us," he said aloud. "You're trying to talk to us, and we're too limited to understand. Our entire civilization is built on force dependence, and you exist outside that framework. So when you try to communicate, we experience it as invasion because we can't process information that doesn't come through the Force." The fragment pulsed agreement, not sentient agreement, just acknowledgement that his analysis approached accuracy. "Then what do you want?" Palpatine demanded. "Why teach us these things? Why show us the Force is limited? Why destroy our philosophical foundations?" The answer came not as words, but as pure comprehension. Not destroying, expanding. The galaxy has been isolated, trapped in force dependence, unable to perceive beyond cosmic energy. The marker breaks that isolation, shows what exists in reality's spaces the Force doesn't reach. Offers choice, remain force-dependent and limited, or learn to perceive beyond the Force and grow. The marker doesn't force the choice, just presents it. What the galaxy does with that choice determines its future. Palpatine felt something he'd never expected to feel toward the marker. Respect, not for power. The marker wasn't powerful in ways Force users understood power. For honesty, the marker wasn't lying, wasn't manipulating, was simply presenting reality and allowing the galaxy to interpret it honestly or cling to comfortable deception. "If I accept your teachings," Palpatine said carefully, "if I acknowledge the Force is limited and learn to perceive beyond it, what happens to my power, my empire, to everything I've built?" The marker's answer was mathematically precise. Power based on Force dominance becomes irrelevant. Empire built on Force user supremacy collapses. Everything built on false premise crumbles when that premise is revealed as false. But understanding itself, true understanding of reality, offers different kind of power, not dominance through mysticism, mastery through comprehension, not ruling through fear, leading through knowledge. "No, you're offering me a choice," Palpatine realized. Continue being Sith Lord, powerful within Force framework, but limited to that framework, or become something else, something that perceives beyond the Force. But that requires abandoning Sith philosophy, admitting I was wrong for 50 years. The fragment pulsed again. Confirmation. The price of growth was humility. The cost of understanding was admitting ignorance. And Emperor Palpatine, who had never admitted weakness, never acknowledged limitation, never accepted that anything could exist beyond his control, faced a choice that would define the galaxy's future: cling to Sith philosophy and Force dominance, remaining powerful but limited, or embrace the marker's teachings, abandon Force dependence and become something unprecedented. He reached his decision. Emergency broadcast. All Imperial channels. Emperor Palpatine appeared on every holoscreen across the Empire, his hood lowered, his face visible, aged, or weathered, but somehow less monstrous than usual. "Citizens of the Empire," he began, his voice carrying weight that transcended authority. "I address you not as Emperor, not as Sith Lord, but as someone who has learned uncomfortable truth and must share it, regardless of cost, to my authority or philosophy. For 50 years, I have ruled through power, granted by the dark side of the Force. I have claimed that mastery of cosmic energy makes one fit to lead, so that Force users possess insight regular citizens lack, that the Sith philosophy of passion and dominance represents ultimate truth." He paused, and something extraordinary happened. He smiled, not with cruelty, with self-awareness. "I was wrong about everything." The galaxy held its breath. The marker, the artifact from the unknown regions, has taught me what I spent 50 years refusing to learn. The Force is not absolute. It is local phenomenon. Powerful, yes. Real, certainly. But limited to this galaxy, this region of space, this particular configuration of reality. Beyond the Force's spectrum, other things exist. Other forms of understanding, other ways of perceiving reality. I attempted to dominate the marker through dark side mastery, failed completely. Not because the marker is more powerful, it isn't. Not in ways Force users measure power, but because it exists outside the Force's jurisdiction. My attempts to control it were like trying to use lightning to manipulate mathematics. Different frameworks, incompatible. And in that failure I learned the Sith philosophy, like the Jedi philosophy, is built on false premise. Both assume the Force is everything. Both build entire worldviews on cosmic energy being absolute. Both are wrong, and admitting that costs me my identity as Sith Lord, costs the Empire its philosophical foundation, costs all Force users our claim to special authority. But truth matters more than authority. Reality matters more than comfortable lies. And the reality is, we've been wrong for 10,000 years. Jedi and Sith, light and dark, all of it was provincial dispute over interpretation of local energy field, while pretending we understood cosmic truth. The marker shows us what exists beyond our provincialism, not as attack, as first contact. Beings from reality where the Force never evolved, reaching through the gaps trying to communicate, and we responded with fear, with denial, with desperate attempts to maintain Force dependence because admitting limitation was unthinkable. I'm thinking it now, I'm accepting it, and I'm asking the galaxy to accept it too. The Jedi Order is fracturing because their philosophy cannot survive truth. The Empire is struggling because Force-based authority is revealed as insufficient. And every citizen across the galaxy faces the same choice. Grow beyond Force dependence or cling to it and watch our civilization collapse under the weight of willful ignorance. I choose growth. I choose truth. I choose to learn what the marker teaches, even though it costs me everything I've built. Because the alternative, pretending the Force is absolute while reality proves otherwise, is cowardice disguised as faith. This is not surrender. This is evolution. And I invite everyone, Jedi, Sith, citizen, clone, to evolve with me, to accept that we were limited, to embrace that limitation as starting point for growth, rather than comfortable endpoint for understanding. The Force remains real. We can still use it, but we can't worship it, can't build civilization on it, can't pretend it makes us special. We're just beings who perceive one narrow spectrum of reality. And now we have opportunity to perceive more, to understand more, to become more. The choice is yours, all of yours. But choose honestly, because the marker isn't leaving, the truth isn't disappearing, and denial, however comfortable, is just slow suicide. May we all have courage to grow beyond what we've been, and wisdom to accept that growth requires abandoning certainty. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, Force users watched in stunned silence as the most powerful Sith Lord in history publicly abandoned Sith philosophy, as the Emperor who destroyed the Jedi admitted the Sith were equally wrong, as the ultimate authority on Force mastery declared Force mastery insufficient. Some saw betrayal, others saw courage, but everyone understood. The galaxy's power structure, 10,000 years of civilization built on Force user supremacy, had just collapsed. Not from military defeat, from philosophical honesty. And in the unknown regions where the derelict drifted through space that hadn't seen life in millennia, the marker continued its simple function, broadcasting, teaching, preparing not for conquest, but for convergence, the moment when galaxy-spanning civilization would either grow beyond Force dependence or collapse clinging to it. The moment was approaching, inevitable, mathematical, and no amount of Force mastery could stop it, because the Force, for all its power, couldn't manipulate what existed beyond its spectrum, could only accept it. or be rendered irrelevant by refusing to. 72 hours after the Emperor's broadcast, the Jedi Council met for what everyone understood might be the final time. Not all seats were filled. Master Jocasta Nu had left, taking 47 Jedi with her to establish what she called the Academy of Direct Perception, a school built on marker teachings rather than Force mysticism. Master Ki-Adi-Mundi had departed to Kyria, claiming he needed to think without the temple's weight. 5 other masters had simply vanished, are unable to reconcile truth with tradition. Those who remained sat in heavy silence. "The order is concluding," Master Yoda said finally, his 800 years of wisdom unable to prevent what was happening. Not from Sith attack, not from political persecution, from truth. Uncomfortable, undeniable truth. The Force is not absolute, limited it is. Local, and we built 10,000 years of philosophy on false premise. "We can rebuild," Master Windu said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Adapt our teachings, incorporate what we've learned. The Force remains real, remains powerful." "But not supreme," Yoda interrupted gently. "Not cosmic, just energy field, one among countless. And admitting that destroys everything the Jedi claimed. Special connection to cosmic will? False. Unique insight into destiny? Misinterpretation. Authority based on Force sensitivity. Built on assumption the Force was everything. Now we know it's not. So what authority remains? The authority to protect," Windu insisted, "to serve, to help those in need, which requires no Force sensitivity at all," Master Shakti said quietly. "Regular citizens can protect, serve, help. They don't need mystical connection. They just need compassion and training. We've been claiming the Force made us better, made us necessary, but it just made us different, and difference we mistook for superiority. The chamber absorbed this truth like poison, necessary, but agonizing. Then what happens now? A younger knight asked. If the order is concluded, if Force users have no special authority, what do we become? Human, Yoda replied simply, just human, with one useful ability among many, not chosen, not special, just people who perceive one spectrum of reality. And that, his ancient features softened with something almost like relief, is enough. Being human is enough. We don't need to be more. The galaxy won't accept that, Windu warned. If for 10,000 years we've been more than human, been guardians, been mythic, if we admit we're just people with one limited ability, then people will stop expecting us to solve everything, Shakti finished. Stop depending on Force users for guidance. Stop waiting for Jedi to fix problems citizens should address themselves. Master Windu, we've been enabling dependence, making the galaxy believe it needs us. But it never did. It just believed our mythology. And now mythology meets reality. Yoda stood, his small frame somehow filling the chamber with presence. Disbanding the council I am, releasing Jedi from their oaths. The order as institution is concluded, but as individuals, as people who can perceive the Force and choose to use that perception ethically, we continue, not as gatekeepers of cosmic truth, as servants with one useful skill, nothing more, nothing less. Master Yoda, Windu began. No titles, Yoda interrupted firmly. No masters, no hierarchy, just people, some Force sensitive, some not. all equally valuable, all equally limited, all equally human. He walked from the council chamber, 800 years of Jedi tradition ending with each step. Behind him, the remaining council members sat in silence, watching the order they'd served dissolve not into darkness, but into honesty. 1 week later, Darth Vader stood before his master, former master, trying to understand the man who'd abandoned Sith philosophy. "You told me the dark side was the path to power," Vader said, his mechanical voice carrying confusion beneath the modulation. "You promised that through passion, through hatred, I could achieve anything. Was that lie?" "No," Palpatine replied, and for the first time in decades, Vader saw him without Force lightning crackling at his fingertips, without dark side aura radiating threat. Just an old man, exhausted. It was incomplete truth. The dark side does grant power. Within the Force's spectrum, but that spectrum is smaller than we believed. Limited, and power within limited system is still limited. "Then what was the point?" Vader's voice rose. "I sacrificed everything, became this," he gestured at his life support armor, "because you promised ultimate power, and now you say power itself is insufficient." "Not insufficient, just not ultimate." Palpatine met Vader's masked gaze. "Anakin, I corrupted you, turned you against the Jedi, against Padme, against yourself. Promised you power to save those you loved. Delivered power that isolated you from love entirely. I was wrong, not tactically, philosophically. I believed Force mastery was everything. Was wrong, and you paid the price for my error." Vader stood silent, processing words his master had never spoken before. Admission of error, acceptance of limitation, honesty instead of manipulation. "What do I do now?" Vader asked quietly. "I'm not Jedi, not Sith, not even fully human anymore. I'm weapon built on false philosophy. What purpose remains?" "Choice," Palpatine said simply. "For 20 years you've followed my orders, served Sith philosophy, been weapon I wielded. Now," he gestured around the empty chamber, "I release you from that service. Choose your own path. Serve what you believe matters, not what I tell you matters. Be Vader by choice, not by programming." "And if I choose to leave, to abandon the Empire, then leave." Palpatine's voice carried no threat. "But I won't stop you, won't pursue you. You've earned freedom, Anakin, even if I cost you everything that made freedom meaningful." Vader stood motionless for long moments, then turned and walked away. Not to serve, not to rebel, just to choose. For the first time in 23 years, the derelict, the marker, continued broadcasting, its signal reaching across the galaxy, teaching realities the Force had never shown. But now something new happened. The signal modulated, changed frequency, and began transmitting not instructions, but invitation. "You have learned, you have grown. You have accepted that the Force is local, that your reality is one among many, that truth matters more than comfortable certainty. Now comes choice. Remain isolated in Force dependence, or join the larger reality beyond it. The convergence offers not conquest, not domination, just contact. Communication between realities that perceive existence through different frameworks. You through cosmic energy, others through mathematics, others through means you have no names for. Joining convergence means abandoning Force supremacy, accepting that your civilization is not unique, not special, not center of cosmic importance. It means becoming one voice among infinite chorus. Refusing convergence means remaining isolated, trapped in force perception, limited to this galaxy, this energy field, this narrow spectrum of reality, safe, perhaps, but alone, always alone. The choice is yours. Make it honestly. Across the galaxy, force-sensitive beings felt the invitation simultaneously, felt the weight of decision that would define their species' future. Some refused, chose isolation over growth, certainty over uncertainty, force dependence over cosmic humility. Others accepted, prepared to join something larger than force-based civilization, to become part of reality's infinite tapestry. And some, Master Yoda among them, stood between choices, understanding that either path was valid, that growth and safety both had merit, that there was no wrong answer, only honest answer. Jedi Temple Archives final entry. Master Jocasta Nu, recording for historical preservation. The Jedi Order has concluded, not destroyed, just rendered obsolete by truth too large to deny. The Force remains real. We can still perceive it, manipulate it, use it ethically, but we cannot worship it, cannot build civilization on it, cannot claim it makes us special. Some will continue Force traditions, practice techniques, study philosophy, maintain the disciplines we've developed over 10,000 years. That's valid. The Force is worth understanding, even if it's not absolute. Others will abandon Force perception entirely, embrace marker teachings, learn to perceive reality without cosmic energy as intermediary. That's equally valid. Direct perception has merits mysticism cannot provide, and some will attempt both. Use the Force when useful, perceive beyond it when necessary. Become beings who exist comfortably in multiple frameworks, neither Force-dependent nor Force-rejecting, just adaptable. I don't know which path is correct. Perhaps all are, perhaps none. But I know this: honesty matters more than tradition. Truth matters more than comfort. And the Jedi Order's greatest achievement, our final lesson, is accepting we were wrong and growing beyond that error. We were not failures, just limited. And admitting limitation is not weakness, is strength, is wisdom, is the only path toward actual growth. May those who come after us learn from our mistakes. May they build better philosophy on better understanding. May they accept that reality is always larger than any framework can encompass. And may they have courage to grow when growth requires abandoning certainty. The Force will be with them, and with everything beyond the Force, because reality in its infinite expanse contains multitudes. This is Jocasta Nu, signing off. 3 months after first contact, a second signal ignited, not from the original marker, from deeper in unknown space, from beyond the region where the Force's influence thinned into nothing. Another probe, another invitation, another opportunity for contact between realities that perceived existence through incompatible frameworks. The galaxy, fractured by truth, rebuilt by honesty, struggling to grow beyond Force dependence, felt the signal arrive, and understood. The first marker hadn't been invasion, had been introduction. The beings from beyond the Force's spectrum weren't conquering, were initiating dialogue. And whether the galaxy accepted or refused, whether it joined the convergence or remained isolated, whether it grew beyond Force limitations or clung to them, the universe beyond wouldn't stop offering invitation, wouldn't stop teaching reality, wouldn't stop showing Force users that cosmic energy was wonderful, powerful, worth understanding, but not absolute, never absolute, just local. And local phenomenon, however profound, remained provincial compared to infinity. The choice of how to respond remained open. The invitation remained extended. And somewhere between Force mysticism and direct perception, between cosmic energy and mathematical certainty, between everything the galaxy had been and everything it might become, humanity learned what it meant to grow, not through destiny, not through chosen status, not through Force-granted supremacy, just through honesty, through accepting limitation, through choosing truth over comfort, through becoming something unprecedented, a civilization that admitted it was wrong and grew anyway. The signal continued broadcasting, patient, inevitable, waiting for answer the galaxy had not yet given, but would have to, eventually, because ignorance, however comfortable, was just slower death, and reality, infinite and indifferent, would outlast any civilization's denial. The Force would be with them, and with everything beyond the Force, forever.